All right, here we go. We ready?
I guess.
Yeah.
She guesses.
Welcome to M Vibes Podcast.
Home of good music.
Good libations.
And good vibes.
All right, here we are back at Tommy's Pub.
Home sweet home.
Yep,
Yeah.
for season 3, episode
Three.
3.
Yeah.
All right.
I have to think about that one. Every time we think
It was a strange pause for a
Next
second.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah. 3
Wait a
3.
minute. Yeah.
All right. We'll start with our special guest, Jeremy. What are you drinking?
I'm enjoying a Miller High Life.
the champagne of the
Champagne and beers. You beat me to
I will
it.
tell you
Yeah.
this. Interesting enough, before you go into it, that was my first beer ever, and that's soul
Is
food.
there?
That's soul food for me. That my dad used to drink
Yeah.
that shit. Remember the little tiny ampule bottle looking ones? Yeah, that was the first beer I ever had in my life.
It's a delightful treat.
It's the best beer ever.
And in our troubleshooting session, Jeremy already killed his whiskey. So
Yeah, it was
Oh,
rum,
shit.
actually. I'm a rum guy.
rum guy.
Oh,
There,
shit. I didn't know that.
Spice rum based on the color.
Yeah.
there you go. Okay. All right, Eric, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking home sweet home. Hell yeah. Not Magners this time. So,
Okay.
however, Magners will be next probably. And a double helping of my friend James.
J-Mo
He's
for
my
the
buddy.
bro stashes. I was drinking Clawhammer by Highland, which is a Oktoberfest beer. Really good stuff. But I've had it over the years, and right now I'm home sweet home with Hop Drop and Roll.
It's a good one.
Yeah, and I did also kill my.
I miss that beer so
my,
fucking much.
Hop Drop.
Hop Drop, yeah.
That was the last
I
beer
wish I
you
could
had
drink it.
before you were diagnosed with.
No, actually, the last beer I had was they had just brought out their Girl Scout cookie beers.
Oh, yeah. Those
And
were
it was
good.
the Samoa Blonde Ale.
They did
And I was
really do a
like-
good job with that shit.
Yeah, they did. I was
Those
like,
were- those were
I
excellent.
found out they had called me while I was at Nora Brewing and told me I had celiac. I'm like, I was like, well, one more beer, boys. That's it.
It's like I'm gonna shit this one out.
yeah.
So
Going,
might as
going
well
down with
enjoy
the
it.
ship.
Yeah.
And I did kill my Basil Hayton earlier. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
but Kate just walked by, so I might get another one.
Yeah,
Here soon.
probably not.
another Noda beer that we have here is Big Slurp.
Do you want me to read that for you, old
Juicy
man?
Imperial IPA.
He
But
forgot his
Slurp,
glasses
Slurp
today.
is an acronym that
Slurp.
Chad explained to me, but now I can't read. So
Look, I'm pretending over here like I held them old man. I'm gonna have to put my glasses
Glasses,
down
yeah.
because I'm blind as fuck too. It
it's so
says
small.
Superior Lupulin Utilization Research Project Slurp.
There
now
you go.
again, I had an acronym for an X that was also Slurp. Did not stand for any of that. This thing says this juicy Imperial IPA uses this unique flavor concept from hops in the mash as the foundation of an amazing citrus hop rye. Big Slurp is hopped with Galaxy, Cascade, Equinaut, and Centennial hops and is infused with tangerine zest and orange zest.
Oh, okay.
There you go. That
That
was
sounds good.
a lot of adjectives.
So we're missing somebody today.
No, we're not. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's
We're
right.
actually missing 2 people today.
Yeah. Once again, the intern's not here.
Just right here.
Yeah.
She's fired. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I was also going to add that, Chad gave me like a 30-minute dissertation on his making of this beer when it was released. But
Is it that good?
When he brought out
it is,
that,
I mean, for a hazy, it's
yeah.
it's good. I mean, a juicy Imperial. How many
Wait.
times you get a juicy Imperial?
I never do.
So,
I have a hazy gluten-free beer.
ooh, nice.
Yeah.
I also have it is Heaven Hills, but it's not Heaven Hills. It's their cheapest sipping whiskey. So,
Yeah.
Kentucky something.
Yeah.
I need to
It's got a horse on the bottle.
step up my game with whiskey. I know I drink Jameson all the time, but I want to. I mean, it's kind of like craft beer.
There's no whiskey shaming here, Eric. Do whatever
No,
the fuck
no,
you
no,
want.
but I
Don't mess
mean-
with the hits.
But I mean, you start out with like Budweiser and you move up. So I mean,
Yeah. Next, well, I mean, I introduced you to the Black Barrel.
and we drank
All of it.
last time we came over. We killed a whole fifth of the Black Barrel. And that shit,
we did.
That shit's so damn good.
It is
It's so
good.
smooth though.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So next I'll have to introduce you to Redbreast.
Yes, sir.
I like breasts of all types.
Yeah.
I go to Hooters for the wings.
They are good wings.
But yes, Amanda and the intern could not join us today.
Yeah. Amanda's working, making beer.
The intern, I don't know what the intern's doing, but she'll be back at some point.
Eventually.
But, yeah. So today, actually, we have an interview with a great artist. I've been, listening to a lot of his stuff lately and the collaborations that he does. So I'm really excited to have Jeremy Ryan, other known as JeremyRadio, on the show today. So we're gonna kind of get to know a little bit of what you're doing and kind of the history here in Charlotte, because we love our Charlotte music. So the first thing I want to ask you though is JeremyRadio. What's up with that?
Okay. So it's I was in a band for most of my 20s called Public Radio, like an indie electronic. Early 2000s, everybody was trying to be Postal Service, and I wasn't immune to that.
But nobody was.
I grew up on punk rock, though, and there was a whole thing of somebody in the band had to have some part of the band name as their last name,
Yeah.
And so somebody called me JeremyRadio one time in reference to that, and I was like, I'll take it.
It works, yeah.
Yeah, I did. I just haven't changed it, since as far as social media, but also I just kind of think it's cool.
It does,
Well,
right?
my real last name is Smith, which is not that cool. So, Whoopi Goldberg's not a real name.
Neither is him, Engelbert Humperdinck, which we discussed last
We
week.
talked about it last week. Yeah.
That's not his real name.
That's not his real name.
That's a bold move for a fake name.
Humperdinck, yeah.
I still got to watch that.
I have to. So the Eddie, this is the second episode back to back. We're gonna bring Eddie Izzard in that show where he talks about like a 5-minute skit of how Engelbert Humperdinck came up with that name. That's not his name. Sounds like Albert something or other.
Wow.
And
I just assumed it was an awful, God-given name.
A fucking curse, yeah.
No, I think it was
he chose
Albert.
that.
I think it's Albert Smith.
That's very impressive. So that's my Whoopi Goldberg is JeremyRadio.
what's Whoopi's real name?
I don't know. I think it's Albert Smith also.
We're all Albert Smith.
At the end of the
I'm gonna
day.
stick with that. Again, great to have you. This is fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
stoked to be here with you guys. I'm a fan of the
Really
podcast.
psyched.
We drank alongside you a lot here.
Yeah,
So,
a lot.
Yeah.
Tommy's is my cheers.
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys did a ska podcast,
So you're like Pearl
and so I
here.
checked that out, and that was cool. And
Yeah.
so if we could just talk about ska instead of me today, I would appreciate it.
We do talk about ska a lot.
We talk, yeah, Ska's
I
our.
only talk about ska a lot.
Tommy's having a ska weekend here soon.
Is that right?
And
We're having a ska weekend with Tommy. It's
With
like
Tommy,
literally
yes.
part of
There
our
it is.
thing.
And,
Literally is our thing.
Before I die, I will be in a ska band. If you guys want to put one together, let me know.
Oh yeah.
dude, I'm in.
I'm in.
We'll send you something to put down a track.
Yeah, shoot me some demos.
Yeah.
So are you a native Charlottean? You're from the area?
I grew up.
Damn it, you beat me to it. Fuck.
Oh, yeah.
The one question he had.
So, where are you from?
I grew up an hour and a half away in Hartsville, South Carolina, which is famously exactly in between Charlotte and Myrtle Beach. That's what we were known for. And I moved to Charlotte 20 years ago and have been here more or less since.
Holy fuck. So I technically have been here. Both of us have been here longer
Yeah.
than you have.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I've been here 26 years now. Yeah.
Are either of y'all natives, though?
No.
Okay,
No.
yeah, that's a
But
rare, that's a rare
I was
unicorn.
okay, fuck that shit. After 20 years, you're a native.
true.
We are now. We are now.
Yeah, I've heard that several times. They're like, "Oh, how long you been here?" I'm like, 25 years. They're like, "Oh yeah, you're native."
No,
Yeah, right, exactly.
I'm like,
when I go back home,
I don't
and they're
think
like,
that way.
you have a Southern accent.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't.
When I
No,
moved, when I moved to Charlotte, this city literally had like 2 skyscrapers, 10 houses,
Yeah.
couple of pastures, 1 cow, and like 1,000 churches.
Absolutely.
Literally.
Yeah.
That was Charlotte.
the place I used to buy porn at here. That was like a fucking bakery. It's like a Mexican bakery. I'm like, I'm never buying anything.
There's
out
also
of that fucking
porn in the
building. There's a lot of dough.
You can
It's very
like a
salty
sweet
dough in the
pastry and
back
get your
room.
titties on back.
Yeah,
I thought it was a church now.
Maybe.
Well, you know what though? One thing I've always, here as of late, Charlotte's full of churches and CrossFits.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're both
And
religions.
And breweries. Yeah.
Yeah. The three religions. Like,
So how old were you when you moved to Charlotte?
I was 18.
Right, so it was a conscious decision.
Oh yeah. I got a bass when I was 12, and all I ever wanted to do was be in a band and go on tour. Because punk bands, everyone had a song about touring, which I'm a big fan of still. But so that to me was it. I got a bass when I was 12. I got the Descendants, the Ramones, and it was like the goal is go on tour.
It changes your life though. It does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so for me, I knew like eventually, like Hartsville's actually a pretty cool little town, but I knew I probably wasn't gonna maybe get a band together. It was gonna hit the road. So like, it was immediate. Like as soon as I'm old enough, I'm moving to a bigger city.
So wait, how'd you find them in the town you were in though? Because there's no Spotify.
No.
Or
Yeah. How
YouTube
did you
back
get
then,
turned into punk in such a small town in the South?
I got into skateboarding. So my parents sent me to a Christian school to keep me from bad
We
influences.
talked about this earlier.
Oh, this is good. Maybe
Been there, done that.
Yeah, right. And well, it turns out the Christian school they sent me to was all the kids that got kicked out of all the public schools.
Amen, brother.
And so it's a bunch of like, future serial killers and criminals.
Yep.
But the first day there, I met some skateboarders and they gave me Punkorama Volume 2.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I mean, yeah.
Superb.
Whatever
So-
Diddy wants is on that one, right?
Whatever
Yes,
he wants
yes.
is on that one, absolutely. But the opening track is Coffee Mug by Descendants, which is my favorite band to this day.
Yeah.
So I was 11, 12 maybe. And I was, Green Day was out. I was kind of digging into that and like great bass playing on Dookie and Insomniac. But then when I heard Descendants, it was like, you could write a song about anything. Like they just wrote a 30-second song about coffee to open up this compilation, which is
Coffee mug.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant song. And so I got a bass for Christmas that year and started a band right after, and we were awful, but it was great. So yeah, that's how I got into it though, was cool. Skateboarder's older cousin gave us some Epitaph
It's funny
comps.
because a lot of people, like I grew up in a third world country.
Okay.
And the way I got into punk
What
was because-
country?
Mexico.
Oh, nice.
Because I was started skateboarding.
Yeah.
That's literally how
Totally.
I got into punk. And like when we were doing our individual episodes, we named 3 of our favorite music songs ever that turned our life around, like 3 songs and none of the songs that I picked were punk. And you made a comment on, wow, no punk. Because punk was always home. Like punk had no big reveal. Punk was always there. It wasn't like, oh, I fell in love with punk because I heard that. No, it was like everybody I hung out with was just punk. So that was just everything outside of punk was new and shiny because punk was just
It was a lifestyle.
Yeah, it was a lifestyle. Yeah.
It's not a uniform, man.
I never wore the uniform. I never wore it.
Well, I think when I heard Dookie by Green Day, there's so many great like bass intros and killer bass. That's why I got into bass. But when I heard Coffee Mug by the Descendants, I felt like that guitar and just how fast it was, it just like changed my DNA. That was like a very. I remember the moment I heard it, and so yeah, that was the trajectory. Was like, okay, like this school sucks. Small town. I'm having a hard time here. I'm like one of 3 punk rockers. I'm an alien, and it's like, oh, I'm 18. I can go wherever I want. Like Charlotte seems cool.
Well, it was the biggest one at the time. Too, right?
I love Columbia. I grew up going to shows at New Brooklyn Tavern. I don't know if you guys have ever been there. It's a great little dive in Columbia. But
I've been in Charlotte for, again 22 years. I think I've been to Columbia like 4 times.
it's a surprisingly cool town.
I go there for the zoo.
That is good too. But when I got a driver's license, New Brooklyn Tavern, if it said punk or ska on the calendar, I was there.
Yeah.
And so it was a blast.
But Columbia, unlike most of the cities around here, has not really progressed since the 90s. I mean, it's still the same
great.
fucking city since the 90s.
I feel like Charlotte, if you're not here for a year, you won't recognize it. But
No.
Columbia has like the same since I was 16.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just couldn't shake the idea of moving to Charlotte. And so that's, I did. And
So was this like one of those like Axl Roses you got off the bus with a fucking like spray on your
Welcome to the jungle.
wearing flannel and shit, or how did that happen?
I found a flyer with people looking for roommates. Ended up in a house with a guy named Luke, who was like, "Oh, you play drums? I'll play bass." And we were best man in each other's weddings and had toured together for like 10 years nonstop. So it was one of those like very right place, right time, meetings. And the other two guys in the house were really strange. I have a lot of funny stories. But me and Luke moved out and got our own apartment together like 2 months later. And so, yeah, then we just started playing in bands. And a year or two later, I was on my first tour. I spent a week circling the country selling merch.
So who was that, homie?
It was a band called Paper Tongues.
Holy shit, I know who they are.
Yeah.
They made it big.
Yeah, they did.
Like, they made it big. So I'm going to say, I was still married to my ex. So this had to be 10, 12 years ago. We were at Common Market on Commonwealth, and we were hanging out at the back area back when you still were allowed to smoke back then.
Sure.
And we were shit-faced, and these like guys were just hanging out there. And my then wife and I were just kind of sitting there drinking and whatever we were doing. And we started talking about music, and these guys introduced us to a music sharing site called Radio, RDIO.
Oh, yeah.
And whatever we started talking, and we were like, well, we listened to some other whatever the fuck we were subscribed to at the time. It's like, well, yeah, but they don't have us. And like, well, who the fuck are you? We're Paper Tongues.
Sure.
And we're like, I don't know who the fuck you are. But then we heard their music, and I mean, it's poppy stuff, but it's really good stuff.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
I know exactly who.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I know exactly who that is.
Their very first tour, it changed lineups a good bit from this tour to when they were big, but they van tour from California to back to Carolina, and I was the merch man. I was home for a week, and then I circled the country again playing bass with a band. And so that was it was great.
But the first gig was Paper Tongues.
Yeah, I was slinging t-shirts. Yeah.
But you didn't play with them?
No.
Okay.
They were all homies. Luke was actually working drums, my first roommate, with them, and he was like, "Yeah, we're going on tour," and I was like, "Ah, man, like, you know, I think I'm gonna like get hitched soon. I don't know if I can go on a tour." And then this band hit me up to play bass. I'm like, sorry, I don't know. I want to. And then the relationship ended. And so I immediately called both of them. I was like, can I still go? So I'd never been out in Carolina, and within 2 months had circled the country twice.
We've heard that one before.
Yeah.
But how cool is it to be on tour? Is it?
It's the best. Like, it was all I've been dreaming about since I was 12. And I absolutely just got addicted to it immediately. It was the best. And they were hard tours. Like, I had negative $200 in my bank account when we left. We were like, getting 3 flat tires between Houston and Dallas, sleeping in parking lots, sleeping on leather seats. There's no EC in the van, leather seats. We drove straight from LA to Dallas from one haul.
Wow.
Which is 25 hours changing drivers the whole time.
That's part of that PMA, though, right?
Absolutely.
That positive mental attitude. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd go nuts. I'd be killing people. I have friends who played in the Coffee Cats.
Oh yeah.
And they talk about touring. Matter of fact, one of them is my sister's best friend's husband, and he's like, man, I had to stop touring. He's like, I couldn't drink every day.
Right.
Yeah.
I get it. I get why people don't love it. But I have, and you may have noticed this already, I have strong golden retriever energy. And I'm just happy to be wherever I am. And I love it, man. Like, I don't care. It's like, we're hungry, we're poor. We, drove 20 hours to play a show, and I'm having the time of my life. Like, I got addicted to it immediately. And I've been, except for the COVID lockdowns, that was the only break I've taken since.
COVID fucked up everying, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's interesting for somebody who's just doing merch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I did too. Also, yeah. But in 2019,
that's awesome.
2019, I did 160 shows, I think. And in 2020, I did 3. So it was like just, brick wall. But yeah, leading up to that point, I haven't stopped since, that one, which has been great.
So let's talk about what you're doing now. What's your current band?
So I did that band Public Radio for a long time. I mentioned where I got the cool name from. And
Wait, we should all be called like first name, last name Imbibes.
yeah, exactly. One of y'all, somebody has to be.
Amanda Imbibes.
Yeah, there you go. That sounds good.
Actually great because we do fucking drink all the time.
Yeah. So I met a lot of cats through that band started to fizzle out, and then I started to get a lot of hired gun work because just made a lot of connections and met a lot of people. And so I would say I'm 38 now. Most of my 30s has been I'm like the hired gun bass guy. But I always have my local band because it's important to me. I love Charlotte so much. I'm an enthusiast. And so I usually have a band cooking. And right now it's $1,000 Movie is the name of the band. So it's instrumental, kind of shoegazy, kind of fugazi, sonic youthy.
Oh, that's what I was saying
You
earlier.
called it, yeah.
I
You
said
totally called it.
I said it's kind of like Steve Vai meets Fugazi.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big fugazi.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we've been listening to it, and I've been vibing to it fucking for the last several days, and I remember talking to you about it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, dude, this is like the greatest shoegaze sort of like thing,
Yeah.
but like with no vocals whatsoever,
Right.
which is kind of what gives. Like the vocals is what I like the least about shoegaze,
Right. Yeah. I feel the same way.
Because it's atmospheric as fuck,
Right,
Like
yeah.
shoegaze is atmospheric as fuck.
Right.
So,
Actually, I think my wife would dig this, man. I need to introduce
so
her
what
to
are we
it.
listening to right now?
This is Everything Lasts Forever by $1,000 Movie.
And now you had a Kickstarter to get this one produced,
No.
or is it a different one?
Yeah, so we just did the Kickstarter. So last week we were actually in the studio doing the new album. And it's called Give Me a Year. And it's actually a whole like love letter to Charlotte. It's,
cool.
It's kind of as much of a concept album can be about that's instrumental. I mean, Love Supreme by Coltrane was about something,
Sure, yeah. That's
absolutely.
about Chicago, right? Isn't it basically? Yeah.
And so I did it as kind of like a bunch of the songs were named after neighborhoods in Charlotte or streets in Charlotte. But to me, it was kind of about moving to a big city from a small town and that scariness, that hopefulness, that feeling alone, and was surrounded by people. And I wanted to kind of get that as an instrumental album. And we did 6 songs live on the floor. And really stoked on how it turned out.
So, 2 things. Who else is on the band? And why did you decide to go all instrumental on it?
So most of our shows, there's a slightly different lineup because one of the main things, I have a funny story where our funny thing is if you want someone to move out of Charlotte, have them start a band with me. It happens every time. Or if you want them to get married or pregnant. And so we'd get these bands cooking and we're like, I'm helping write the lyrics, the melodies. I'm not a singer though. And we start to cook and then, someone's moving, someone's this, someone's that. And, and sometimes you have a band where I don't want to replace this guy. I don't want to do it without him. And so I was finally, after one of the last ones started to slow down, I was like, I'm just going to start a fucking instrumental band. And that way, and that way if somebody can't do a gig, I can, if it's one I really want to do, I can still do it.
That's literally the approach we took to this podcast. Let's get a bunch of fucking hosts, so in case somebody can't do
That
it.
was all the time,
I was
yeah.
going to say, this is not unusual from a lot of bands and artists that we've spoken to. Like,
Yeah. Right.
They just, it's a revolving door.
Yeah.
Totally.
But,
Trying to get the right,
so
trying to get the right
So
chemistry,
let's
the right
say
people.
That like social distortion comes to your town, and the only original member is Mike Ness.
Right.
Is it still social distortion?
You got to have
Or is
Johnny
it-
Two Bags.
Or is it just
Well,
Mike
I
Ness
think-
singing some social distortion songs?
Right.
A biggest, kind of weirder situation is when Sepultura came into
Sure,
town.
right,
and there wasn't
yeah.
a single
There-
fucking member of
Nobody's in the
Sepultura
band anymore.
coming in.
Nobody's in the
That's
band.
trippy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it still Sepultura?
It should be
Right.
a tribute band.
Right.
Yeah.
That gets weird. But I would say for the most part, I have like the A squad, and then if they can't do it, then there's so many great musicians in Charlotte. It's
There
like,
are, yes.
Like, cool, I can get a guitar player for this one. That's the only cat we're missing. But the main lineup is Leonardo Solis, who's in a great local band called Solis with
Yeah,
his
we're going
wife.
to talk about that in a second.
Yeah, big fan. I get to play with them also.
Yep.
Zach Looper's guitar man and Dominic Gerald's on drums. And that's like the main guys currently. But when it started, it was like a friend in Seattle, Jesse Proctor on drums, and we kind of wrote a lot together. We're just emailing tracks back and forth. So it's kind of had a little evolution, but that's the main live lineup and who just did the most recent record. And this...
Did you say Jesse Proctor?
I did, yeah. How do you know him? Drummer man?
Yes.
Yeah.
What groups have you been with?
John Mark McMillan for a long time. He's a studio guy mostly. He does a lot of publishing, licensing stuff. He actually just did the music for the trailer for the new Lord of the Rings Amazon show.
really?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Probably,
Okay.
He
probably,
just
you've
dropped
probably
out-
seen it with Greg
That
Parrish.
name really stuck out to me. So
Yeah.
I must have worked with him somewhere along the rock.
He does
or
a-
along the way.
Well, the band kind of started with me and him like, hey, let's do some cool indie music for some licensing because he's in that world. And he, after we wrote it, he's like, I don't know if this is going to work for that. I'm like, well, I want to start a band with this and play local shows. So that's kind of how it kind of got cooking was with Jesse. Yeah, so I was like, I need a band that if we don't have a singer that is going to quit or move or can't do a show, I can still do a show.
Right.
So that's what we landed on instrumental, really.
So what's like the near sort of future for this project specifically? I know again, we just talked about it for a split second, but what are you looking for? Like what are we doing?
Yeah, so I love, like, to me, I want to play shows as much as possible. Like that's my main thing in life. With touring, like the best thing about touring is you get to play a show every night. You can't do that in town unless you're, like a cover band at Buffalo Wild Wings, which is cool.
And we got through some serious up and downs here in Charlotte as far as like the music scene goes. I mean, we had some amazing eras where like,
Not
where
the best music town.
right, but if you look for it, if you look for, if you really look for it, local music in Charlotte is fucking amazing. 'Cause I'm with you.
Yeah.
I fucking love this town, but
Me
I
too.
don't. I love the underbelly of
Yeah.
this town, which is where no, that's not the underbelly.
But we had lost a lot of our venues here in town
Right.
that would host those great shows. Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree with you. Like the fact that you sort of got inspired by and did a whole a conceptual album to Charlotte. I don't care what people say about Charlotte and what Charlotte's becoming. I get it. For the past 25 years, it's been a fucking cool town that we've been like up and down with music. Right. Sometimes it gets shitty, but then we kind of deep, like really, like reach deep down and we find some amazing shit. Right.
Well, and people ask me, like my friends in Nashville or around the country, like, why are you so hung up on Charlotte? Like, what makes this such a great scene? And like, yeah, I can see plenty of criticism for it too. But to me, it's not hard to find a stage. Like, it's not hard to start a band, find a stage. And like Tommy's where we're at today is like a great example. Yep. Like if you're in Nashville, a lot of my homies there, like if you book a show, if you don't bring a certain amount of people to cover their bottom line, you have to pay the difference.
Yeah.
Like you have to pay to play. LA is that way. New York can be that way. Not everywhere, but a lot of clubs. And so like, it's so hard to get a band off the ground to like get a venue to give you a shot. It's so easy in Charlotte to find a venue that'll give you a shot to help you build a crowd. Like spots in Asheville, North Carolina, like, yeah, we don't book you until you can bring 200 kids out. I'm like, well, how the hell do you get where you can bring out 200 kids?
And then they help you nothing with promo, right? Like it's like it's all you, but you're the venue. You need sales too,
right? I do one of these, but then Charlotte is like, it's so easy to find. I mean, the Evening Muse was a big one for me. Like Joe's such a like grandfather to the scene here, but like.
So I live 10 steps from the Muse.
Oh, perfect.
And I fucking love it. Like
I love it.
The caliber of musicians that they bring there is outstanding. Now it's not going to be ever like this cacophonous sort of rowdy crowd. It's going to be like really amazing singer-songwriter, jazz, blues.
Yeah, it's really laid back,
It's
acoustic.
super
Yeah.
amazing.
But it's something-
That
but
has
some
been the
great
cradle to so
singer-songwriters.
many. Yeah,
There's so many
musicians.
bands that went on to get like major
I
labels.
love the Bees.
Like, or anything in Charlotte that like went on to grow up, like, or get bigger. They would say their first show, like the Avett Brothers, one of their first shows was the Evening Muse. Like at the clubs around anyway. Like for me, like 20 years old, getting to play there with Public Radio, that band, like it was such a big deal. Like to hear Joe say
Tremont
like,
was another one.
Yeah,
that
Tremont.
I was just
really
going to say,
launched
I was
on that
working
demo.
I was working at 330 Tremont Avenue today. And I'm like, that sucks all those condos over there, man.
Dude,
I'm like,
it breaks
they
my
haven't-
heart.
I'm
That was like a CBGBs of the
It
South.
was, man. I've seen so many great artists.
I saw some of my favorite bands
But
there. I
that-
played some of my
Right.
favorite shows ever there.
Yes.
Like,
I mean, that is Charlotte, though. I
Yeah.
mean, we talk about Charlotte. Charlotte does not.
But I mean,
They do not hold on to history whatsoever. They
As-
would tear shit down and build something else in a heartbeat.
absolutely. Yeah, that is
at the end of like
ever evolving.
their days, you saw most shows in the fucking cash ball at Tremont. But I mean, I've seen the greatest surf guitarist of all time.
Dick
I'm
Dale?
like, yes. I saw Dick Dale at Tremont, and he played the cash ball. I'm like, well, why is he not on the main stage? Just makes no sense. Yeah, but yeah.
No, like when we were starting to pop off, like Public Radio did okay by the end, and like we're maybe bringing in like 300 kids a show, you know, and like we finally got to the big stage at Tremont, and it felt like such a big deal to me. You know, like that was a very special night for me. Like growing up going there, you know.
For those who aren't in Charlotte or in the area anymore, the Tremont is just a pile of rubble. Actually, it's a high rise now.
It is now, yeah. It's all condos now. That was one of the first venues I went to in Charlotte when I came here. A friend of mine was in a band called Pen 15.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
and he brought me to Tremont. It was the Descendants, Less Than Jake, Guttermouth, and I forget who else was there. And I brought a girlfriend in there. It was a very Christian girl. And I walked in, and Guttermouth was on stage, and he's yelling up to somebody on stage. He goes, I'll dry fuck you up the ass, bitch.
Oh gosh.
Okay, well, we gotta rate this episode differently now.
Okay, now we're at E.
And the girl I was with, she's like, I'm leaving. I'm like, no, hold on. Don't leave. It'll be all right.
But yeah, I mean, Tremont's the one that one hurt.
Yeah,
that
did.
I was no.
Several hurt.
Come on.
The double door.
Double door was heartbreaking.
Double door.
I'm glad I got to play there.
I agree.
I'm glad Amos's is open again.
Yeah, it's different, but it's there.
It's different.
But it seems
it's
like all
different.
they book
I really
now,
like the original
cover bands.
Right, that's their thing.
That's just that
was another milestone for us, is getting to like do a headlining show at Amos's. We felt like we were biggest band in the world, you know, like because that was the harder club to get in, and it was big. But yeah, now it's mostly like John Bon Jovi covers.
Yeah.
Who was on Pit 15? I think I know some of those cats.
Ryan Sullivan.
Was Elijah
Mike? I don't know. I forget his last name. There were two brothers. One was from England, but his brother lived here in America. So one had a English accent, and the other one, I forget their names.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different band.
No.
Maybe there was another Pit 15.
Penis. Yeah, there were.
Like that Disney movie, the twins that were separated.
Yeah. Freaky
It was
Friday.
funny because when I first moved down here, I met those guys from Pen 15, and I went and hung out with them after 3 years of being sober.
Oh,
And I went to a pub off of Park Road with them on New Year's Eve.
Sir Edmund Haley's.
Yes.
Which has nothing to do with Ireland or any other fucking, like literally the name, and that's it.
They have really good chicken tenders.
That's literally.
I was in the bushes all fucking night puking.
That's about the only other Irish thing they have going on for them.
I will never forget. They walked outside and he goes, "Hey, where the fuck is Eric?" And I pop up behind the bushes. I said, "Here I am." I got back in the van with them. We drove back to their place, and I crashed in their van all night, man.
That's perfect.
So, other than your own projects, obviously, you know, you also do a lot of work with John Mark McMillan.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did that get started? How did you get involved with that?
So that tour I did the month later from the Paper Tongues merch tour was playing bass for John Mark McMillan on his first tour. And at the time, he was just a local Charlotte cat. First tour, we were in a van. I don't think he could afford to pay me either. He was, you know, it was like, yeah, I can't pay you, but I got this tour. And I'm like, yeah, I get to play bass every day. Cool, let's go. You know, and we stayed close. So right after that tour, I started Public Radio with Mark Mathis, the singer. It was really his band, and you know, I was lucky enough to get to play in it. But me and John Mark stayed close, and when that band fizzled out, I sent him a text and said, "Yo, let me play bass," and he said, "Okay." And
That's usually how this works.
Yeah, that was like 2012. Everybody needs a bass player. If you're not an asshole, you can get gigs.
If you don't have a bass player, you don't have a band.
Right.
I mean, it's the rhythm section.
And so
some of my best friends have been bass players.
Yeah. Well,
I love the bass.
we're beautiful people.
And again, without the bass, you have nothing.
No. And so
I love that low end.
So 2012, I jumped back on board with him, and I've been with him pretty full time since. So we've toured the world. It's been amazing. Like,
So you're still doing it?
yeah. So we've done like Brazil 5 or 6 times, like Australia, UK, Hong Kong, like circled. I've probably done like 10 US tours with him. Played on his records. It's really great, man. He's really good to me, and I dig his music. But it's very like I got to be really creative as a bass player, which isn't always the thing when you're a hired gun. Because ultimately, that's what I am. It's awesome, but it's like his thing, and he brings me in, and I'm grateful for it. But like a lot of those guys just want the bass player behind the drum kit in the shadows, playing like holding down the fort. But like he starts a lot of his songs with just drums and bass, and so it's like
he does.
Yeah, it's fun, man. Like, so I have a lot of room to like, let's try delay and fuzz on a bass. Let's try this weird effect. So we get to try a lot of really cool stuff. So it's a lot of fun to tour.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this. You're with the podcast, and then we started following kind of fairly when we started the podcast. So it's been a bit, and I actually had never really heard of his music.
Yeah.
For alt sort of rock, it's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, subject matter is a little different for me, but
sure.
But musically, I can definitely appreciate.
Yeah, it's a lot of like, especially with the last like bunch of singles, we were like. He'll just say like, yeah, I've been listening to like Talking Heads and David Bowie a lot. I'm like, cool. So I listen to that stuff all the time anyway. But like,
wait, just now?
Yeah. But that's easy for me. But then I'm like, the whole time I'm like tracking a song. I'm like, cool. Like, what would they do on China Girl? Or like what? And so yeah, he's like always on some cool trip, and it's like really fun for me as the rhythm section gets a lot of fun action in his stuff. Yeah.
So you're still currently collaborating with him.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything planned in the near future?
We leave the 11th for a 3-week tour.
Where are you guys going?
We're hell riding out west, like 2 shows to hit the West Coast. And then we're going, so it's going to be a doozy. And then all the way up the West Coast. And then hell riding back, like hitting Denver and stuff on the way back. Fun. Yeah. So about 3.5 weeks would be cool.
So you also collaborate a lot with one of my favorite sort of regional, local dream pop duos, SOLIS, which I fucking love.
I'm glad to hear that, man. I'm a huge fan.
This electro pop, power pop, or it's just amazing fucking music.
Yeah,
and I love
agree.
I've been following them forever. And
that's awesome.
I love them. Husband, wife duo. And so after I listened to $1,000 Movie, I was like, oh yeah, this is SOLIS now. Because fucking haven't, it's one of those things where you sit there and you forget about local bands, and I was like, oh my God, I love them so much. And I've been to so many other shows and shit. So how did you get involved with that?
So me and Leo, that band I was in, Public Radio, we did the whole LA showcase thing for a while for all the majors and played that game, which I got a lot of funny stories out of, and it kind of sucked overall, but I'm glad I did it. It was like a punk rocker, so my blood was boiling most of the time. But Leo was an LA cat. So I met him, friend of a friend. He came to one of those showcases just to hang out, to see some Charlotte homies. And, excuse me. And so, we kind of met there, and then he moved to Charlotte shortly after, and we kind of just working with the same cats and becoming homies. And,
don't be afraid to burp on mic,
cool.
Man. That's right.
Yeah.
I have this.
Eric does it all the time.
He farts and burps on the fucking dad. Doesn't matter. Do whatever you want.
Well, it's really great.
Be you, sir. Be
I
you.
have this. My only personality defect, because I'm otherwise perfect, is anytime I'm going to get interviewed for anything, I eat and drink the worst things possible all day, and I just burp and have heartburn the whole time.
Got acid reflux.
Right. Yeah, see, everybody. Yeah, so okay, so we're in good company here.
Apparently, the seal has been broken.
Yeah. We started early. Yeah, whatever.
It's true.
No, he's the last one here.
He was, yeah. Which is weird because normally I'm the last one here. But yeah. Anyways.
So I met Leo around that time, and his band SOLIS is so great. If anybody hasn't heard it, check it out. But I didn't play with him for a lot of that time. I was just a fan and we were friends. But then, he hit me up to start playing bass for him, and he started playing guitar for my bands. So it's been this cool collaborative. We're serial collaborators, big time. They're really good.
So the record label that you promote on your Instagram, Gigantic is
so Four Finger Records is the label.
all right.
And then so like I said, we're serial collaborators. So me and Leo have a label together called Four Finger Records.
Okay.
And both of our bands are on it. And we just do Charlotte bands, and we throw a lot of shows around town. But then we have Gigantic Recording Company as well, which is kind of our people send us demos. We play every instrument. Leo mixes and masters it, and you get a finished song.
Did I call it gigantic?
You did call it gigantic, which sounds like Godzilla Gigan.
Sorry, I was watching King Kong last night.
That's
so I'm
good.
kinda,
Gigantic like the Pixies song.
Well, or like, okay, we're not going there.
So yeah, me and Leo from SOLIS do everything we possibly can together, and we talk every day. And I don't know if I'm his son's godfather, but he's my dog's godfather, probably.
Watching or no?
So you have both of them, right? So Four Finger.
Four Finger is our local Charlotte label.
And what is it?
Gigantic.
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 So
you got me saying that, so that's why I said it.
So why the two label, and how do you? So what's the different projects?
Oh yeah, so Four Finger we started a long time ago because he had SOLIS. I had at the time the Rainiers and $1,000 movie, and we're like, we should start a fake record label so it makes our band seem more legit.
That's why we started a podcast,
and we'll make some merch.
It's a fake podcast.
Yeah. We'll make some merch and it'll be cool. But then we're like, you know what? Like, you're a producer. I've done the whole DIY music thing since I was 18. Like, we could actually do a label. We could help bands out. And we had some younger bands we're homies with that were like, well, let's start a label and we'll work with these guys. We'll show them how to book shows, how to make merch, how to make flyers. And we did all these residencies at Petra's. And,
oh my God, I love Petra's.
Oh, me too. It's the best. And we do about once a year, we do a cassette tape compilation of all the bands we work with.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And so our whole thing is just kind of like Discord Records does for DC. Like, we want to document our corner of the Charlotte music scene. Like, Charlotte music scene is very diverse. There's a lot of great bands and labels. Like, this is our little crew, our homies.
Yeah.
You know.
So my too. So the Live from Abari, the little mini and
oh yeah.
I love with the little toy phone. Like that's I bought that a while back. Yeah.
We threw that concert at a rooftop at a bar during the height of COVID, and people drove up to it, and so you could hear on the record people honking their car horns after each song instead of clapping. And so we're just trying to document the scene and how we see it, with Four Finger.
And for the again, people who don't, Abari is this really cool. It's a take an Atari with a bar.
It's the coolest place.
It's the coolest fucking place ever.
So awesome. Yeah. And
vintage video games.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna say rock music, but it's a lot of punk rock stuff.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah, pinball is like my golf. If I have a day off on tour, I'm looking for a place to play pinball.
Right, yeah.
Like, I love it so much. So like, I was so stoked when it opened. And Zach, the owner, is the coolest guy. He's been really good to us.
Yeah.
He helped put out that vinyl.
And also craft beer.
Yes. Mucho good beer there too.
Yeah.
So given we just kind of are tail ending our way out of COVID, and then just kind of spearheading into monkeypox, you had the quarantine session relearlies, right?
Yes.
You had the original one and the covers one. So how did that all come about?
Yeah, so it was, again, like, like early into COVID, everybody's like terrified to leave their house still, and we're just trying to think of what we can do to be creative. So we're like, all right, let's do all the bands do a record where everybody records at home on their own, and you splice it all together and do the whole computer thing. And there's Miller High Life.
Champagne and beer. And bubbly.
Full of bubbles, yeah.
I had a bunch of hummus and nuclear level hot sauce all day today. So this is about to happen. That's what I'm saying. I have a problem.
Yo, at the Anthrax show, Hatebreed had their own hot sauce.
Oh, did they really?
I almost brought it just to taste
that would
it.
be awesome.
It was awesome.
Wait, which show?
Anthrax. So, Hatebreed.
I missed that.
Do you remember we went to the Scotch Bonnets show?
I still have the hot sauce, yes.
They had their own hot sauce too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a ska band from...
His name was Scotch.
Oh, yeah, they're great. I love those guys.
Scotch
I love
Bonnets.
those guys.
I love the
Yeah.
Scout guy, yeah. So we did the first one, and it did really well, and we gave all the money to the bands, and so then it was early on in the whole COVID thing, it was like, next month everything's gonna be back. Next month everything's gonna be back, and it went on for a year and a half.
Over and over, yeah.
Yeah, and we're still kind of limping back to life here, but so we did a second one where we randomly assigned another band from the label, and they had to cover one of their songs in their style. So we had country bands covering synth rock bands and vice versa. And it it could have been a train wreck, but it turned out awesome. Like we were really stoked on it.
This is amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, this is our newest single.
That's what I'm telling you. Like, it's just everything about, like, it's,
Oh, yeah, I'm really proud of this.
This is awesome.
This is our newest single. I can't help but feel partly responsible. It's big Dinosaur Jr. Fugazi vibes, but no singing, you know?
Which is,
it's
you
awesome.
know what? Great for me. Like,
I got nothing to say. What I got to write lyrics about, you know? I did actually hear a good songwriter say one time.
It's a song that'll make you think.
Yeah.
It
makes you focus.
It does, yeah. You focus in, you got a lot of words in your head. Well, it's just playing. This is awesome.
No, I love it, man. And I think it was an old school thing in like the jazz world. It's like they would name a song something deep and say what it was about, and that wasn't weird.
Right.
You know, and it's like, well, I can say how I felt when I wrote it, you know, like maybe it'll help someone else feel something, you know.
Well, I mean, this is a lot like a friend of mine who writes music for television.
Yeah.
Isaac Moore.
Okay.
And there's no vocals, so it's all instrumental. So and it's I love it.
Oh, thanks, man. That's very kind. And so that's Four Finger. Like we're doing our best to like kind of document the scene, and we love throwing shows. We do a lot of stuff at Petra's because Perry's always been the owner's been really good to us, and we love doing stuff here at Tommy's as well. And then Gigantic started during COVID. Again, we're doing all this recording by proxy out of necessity, and we realized like, oh well, I guess we could kind of offer this as a service.
Right.
So we got a cool logo. My homie Rico that works for like Marvel Comics and some other great comic companies. Yeah, he helped design Spider-Gwen.
Holy hell.
He's currently coloring She-Hulk. Rico Renzi is incredible. And he did a cool logo for us. And we're like, yeah, we got a cool logo, and we're not just gonna be like the little selfie picture of our face, like, hey, let me play bass on your record, which I do, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we're like, what if we had a cool logo and we're a crew, and you send us a demo to a click, and we do everything, and you end up with a finished song. And that was kind of the concept, and it kept the lights on during COVID. It's done really well.
Okay, so awesome. If I were a band, and I send you my demo, so what would be sort of the process then? So be your what you would call a scratch vocal and guitar or piano, whatever your basic instrument is. You send us your scratch to a metronome. Let us know what the key of the song is and what the tempo is. We would play drums, bass, guitar, synths. You kind of tell us what genre you're going for. Maybe send us some references. Sure.
We play everything. We send it back to you. If you're stoked on it, we send you an instrumental so you can track your final vocal to. So the client does have to be able to do a keeper vocal take.
Wow, okay, that's pretty dope.
It literally just fucking clicked in my head.
And they send that back. We mix and master it, and they have a song they can put on, they can go for. And so we've had cats from Australia, Hong Kong, like all over the country, the world, hitting us up for this. It's been so cool, man. Like meeting cool people. Like today I tracked 4 songs, and it was like a pop punk Christmas song, like a Taylor Swift influenced pop song,
Dude, I love Taylor
like
Swift.
a metal song, and and it's really cool. Every day it's kind of like all over the place genre wise.
So day in day out, like this is your life. Like this is not like you. This is what you do.
Yeah,
day in your waking life.
All I want to do is be on stage every day, just because I'm a fish in water. In that situation, I just love playing live. But when I equally love being in the studio and collaborating with people and being creative with other cool musicians and meeting other musicians. So Gigantic's been really great for that as well. Like made some really great friendships.
Do you ever have anyone send you a full composition? Like, here, I want a track of this.
Yes. Like I want you to replicate this.
Yes.
And sometimes that sucks because sometimes it's like, I mean, you already have it. I mean, I guess we'll just do a.
So they wrote the music. We want you to lead a track on it.
Yes. And it's like this is the bass I want. This is the drums I want. This is the guitar. I want. So that's an easy day at the office, but sometimes it's like this is kind of sucks. But I will say
you have no artistic.
Yeah. It's a little more of a
input
challenge
to it. Yeah.
But like we average 5 to 10 clients a month with that, and I would say only 1% of them have been like kind of stinkers. Like it's kind of constantly like, whoa, this song's awesome. Like, so it's been really cool. And it's been a good creative exercise too, to like be able to play every genre, the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
Do I hear Link Ray in the background? Yes. Yeah.
So-
yeah.
We do now.
Yeah.
So if a local musician or somebody needs to find you, where can you find both the record labels and what's coming up for you guys?
Well, we have fourfingerrecords.com, which links to all of our bands in our merch store. Gigantic Recording Co. on Instagram.
One of them has a podcast.
So Four Finger Records, we did it very regularly pre-COVID, but since it's been spotty, but we do a podcast occasionally where we just play. We interview a Charlotte band and play some Charlotte music, which is kind of, again, our whole thing. But then $1,000 Movies on Bandcamp and all the streaming, and we're on the socials, and I'm JeremyRadio on that as well, so you can follow all my assorted projects.
So what's your next show?
We are here at
beat me to it,
Tommy's October 28th with It's Snakes, which I'm very excited about. They're a great local band. And
With who?
It's Snakes.
Oh yeah, I love them. I actually have a couple of their albums.
Yeah, they're great, man. So we're playing here at Tommy's Pub with them on October 28th. I'm on tour all of September with John Mark McMillan.
That's a Friday night, right?
Yeah, it's Halloween weekend. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to get everybody to do corpse paint so we can look like a death metal band and play shoegaze.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So we'll see if it happens.
So we'll be on Tommy's, then Amanda's, and then whatever else happens that weekend.
I'm on call that weekend, so I gotta switch my on call, man.
Squish it.
There's no way I can be on call that weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, we did our new record last week, and so hopefully it might not be out by then, but I'm thinking maybe late November we'll do a CD release show, probably at Petra's, or tape release, doing cassette tapes for that. So, but yeah, so far, right as of today, what's on the calendar is Tommy's 1028.
All right.
All right. Cool.
Oh, great. That's awesome, man. Thank you for being on the show. We really appreciate
yeah,
it. This
man.
was a fucking badassery. You fit right in.
Yeah.
I'm thinking,
You
Amanda,
should be-
you're out of a job.
Yeah, man. Fuck you.
Have me back anytime. I can talk about
No,
ska
wait.
or skate punk.
We need our Cliff Clavin, though, man. I'm sorry.
Can you do
yeah.
a Cliff Clavin moment,
Yeah,
Amanda?
I can do that.
Oh.
That's a challenge.
Yeah, man.
Amanda's
So,
a Cliff Clavin moment
ooh,
every
that was a
episode.
late-
Oh, just
down.
with the fun facts, you mean?
Yeah.
yeah, I can do that.
So, this Wednesday night, I'm going to finally go see Jack White.
Yes,
I've
I'm
been
so
waiting to see him
jealous.
forever, man. He's always cost an arm and a leg to go
Yeah.
see, but I bought him like that $25 weekend back in May.
Oh shit.
So yeah, I mean, I'm going by myself.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
sit
because
on
I
the
can go
lawn.
with you.
You can come. You can pay some money.
Yeah, and I'm not.
Are you guys going to see the Chili Peppers next week?
No,
No.
no. That will be a no.
Listen,
I guess
Flat
it's
no.
hey,
no.
wait, you know what though? Javier and I both agree on this. They are fantastic live.
Oh yeah.
I do not like the Red Hot Chili Peppers at all, but
no.
I will see them live
But
any day of the
live,
week.
they
Yeah.
put on a
That-
great show.
That's why. That's the same. That's how I feel. That's why I'm going.
I saw him at Bonnaroo in 2012.
Oh, yeah.
I left my wallet while I was seeing
Oh,
him.
no.
So I was like, great show. Shit, lost my
So,
wallet.
Jeremy, any shows you're going up to see other than your own, obviously?
Yeah.
We do want you to suck yourself, but not that hard.
Yeah. It's been. I went to a bunch this summer. I feel like coming up, I'm getting into tour season, so it's. I am going to see the Chili Peppers next week. I'm very stoked. I'm a bass player. I got to go pay my respects to Flea.
That is true. That is true. Bucky was a flip too.
But man, I saw so many great shows. I saw Negative Approach this summer, which was amazing.
They opened for.
Circle Jerks.
Yes.
But then they played in Charlotte too at Snug.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
didn't
sweet
know
talked my
that.
way into that one after it was sold out. That was probably my favorite recent show I've seen.
Aren't the Strokes open for
The Strokes are opening.
Oh
which
my!
will be
I
cool.
love the Strokes.
I
I
love
can't
the
believe anybody
Strokes,
says I
yeah.
love the
Yeah,
Strokes.
Thundercat, bass guy.
Yeah.
He's opening. But yeah, no, this summer I got to open for my hero Mike Watt and get to see him play again, which was awesome.
I missed that show. It
Oh,
was at Snug Harbor, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
He crashed at my house that night, and if I could have a drink with a living or dead musician, it would be Mike Watt.
Yeah.
And we stayed up talking till 5 a.m.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
One quick funny story, because I don't know how long you guys want to go here, but
yeah, we're good. We're good.
he walked in the house. So we played the gig and they were like, yeah, we're couch surfing. I was like, bro, I got a clean house. We're 10 minutes down the road,
Yeah.
and so he walked in and immediately stripped to his underwear.
Oh,
And I was like,
That's
okay.
me.
And he's like, where am I setting up my air mattress? I'm like, oh, we're over here. Because he yells in this gruff voice, like no volume control, which for me is saying a lot because I'm a loud person. And so I'm like, hey, did you want to take a shower or something, man? And he's like, oh, yeah, give me a minute. And so I get the other guys set up and I walk back in the living room and he drops his underwear to the floor. And he says, radio, show me how that shower works. And I take him down the hallway and show him the shower. And he comes out in some like Hello Kitty pajamas, which was really also a big
wait,
treat.
I own.
I'm gonna pass out. Hold on, that's funny.
And so I was like, man, I was stoked to get to hang out with my hero. I didn't expect to see him naked. That's a win-win.
Was he a grower or shower?
He was a shower. It was very impressive. They say never meet your heroes, but mine was awesome, and I got to see his wiener.
That's all that matters.
He's a great guest at a house.
That's awesome. We have to tag Mike Watt in this fucking stuff.
I don't know. He might not like that story.
He's like, hell yeah, I'm not gonna fucking shower.
I did get to go on his podcast a few weeks ago, though. It was
Did
really,
you?
it was so cool to talk to him again, man. He's been really kind. He actually, the new $1,000 movie record that's coming out soon, I asked him if he would say the name of the record, and with his awesome deep voice, and I'd start the whole record that way. And he said yes, and so he gave me a little voice memo. So
That's
the only
fucking,
vocals,
that's awesome.
the only vocals on the new $1,000 movie record are from Mike Watt, who's my hero. So it's very kind
That's
to
awesome.
him. He's a really sweet guy.
So that show you did was like a jazz show, though, right?
Yeah, they're kind of instrumental avant-garde jazz called Missive MSSV, and it was so cool, man. Like it was
I saw it advertised, but I couldn't go back and re-find it again. So
yeah.
I didn't know when they were playing again. I was
Right.
like, I don't care what he's playing. I just want to be in a house
Totally.
where Mike Watt's playing. Yeah,
I just want to see him do anything. I was just like
Yeah.
jaw on the floor the whole show. It was really cool. Like they have a record out, MSSB. It's so good, but it's really cool avant-garde stuff, and it was really cool to get to play with him at Snug.
I guess it's over, man.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. Well, we got
minute 9.
we got
we got a minute.
we got a minute 9 left. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, this is so moving, though, man. This is
Thank
some
you, man.
good music.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well,
so-
it's a challenge to try to convey emotion without lyrics sometimes.
It is, and you know what? I think my wife would really love this because I get in her car, which is what the car I'm driving tonight. Thank you, babe, for letting me drive your car tonight.
Yeah.
This is what's playing in
Okay.
her car. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So I think I'll turn my wife on to you.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, check it out.
Not physically. Actually, if you want her, she shares.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
you
all right. Yeah. I will share. Anyways. There you go.
Is that you?
There you
Dude.
go. All right.
Oh no, he just got you down.
It's all right, man. It's over. One of these.
One of these would talk.
Okay.
There you
there
are.
I am.
There we go.
So Brady just went out the door, which
Yeah.
means that is the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So, again.
Wait, pause that. There you go.
Oh God.
We don't have the license
It's
to
good
that.
our host knows how to use this shit.
All right. So
You know.
again, this is a very professionally produced podcast.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us.
I'm happy to be here. This is a blast.
But that was great. Thank you. Again, I believe in Charlotte music.
Yeah.
I've been here for so long that I've seen this scene go up and down.
Yeah,
and,
man.
I'm always for it. I'm always,
Yep.
and one of the reasons why we chose Tommy's to be our home base for this podcast is because we know how passionate and how crucial Jamie and Tommy's has been to the
Oh, yeah.
local music scene,
Yeah.
right? Along with the Muse, along with Tremont, along
Yeah.
with the Double Door, but like I think that Tommy's doesn't get enough of sort of that piece of the pie.
I agree. I agree 100%.
Of why this scene is the way it is,
Yeah.
and I think Jamie is a huge part of it.
Big time.
And before that, Jim Mac, rest in
Yeah.
peace. It was part of it, and yeah, I think the reason why we're here, I think the reason why we now know you, and the reason why we know a lot of people is because Tommy's is the glue to that.
I agree.
Fucking reminiscent sort of thing that was Charlotte at
Absolutely.
one point. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's the only way to have a healthy scene is places like Tommy's.
Right.
I
agree.
You got to have the 50 cap, the 100 cap, and the 200 cap, so a band could do their first show here and 10 people come and it's not a bust.
Right.
That's so important to a music scene. So I'm a big fan of Tommy's, and thank y'all so much for having me. It was awesome.
Thank you. All right.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
Tommy's. Good night. Adios.
A huge shout out to our gracious host, Tommy's Pub. Located at 3124 East Wade Drive, Tommy's Pub is a small neighborhood bar that's big on music and community. Go to Tommy's Pub's Facebook page where they regularly provide updates about upcoming events to include weekly open mic night, karaoke, and live music from some of the best up-and-coming bands in the Queen City. Thank you, Tommy's Pub, for hosting M Vibes Podcast. We have a lot of interesting episodes coming up about music's most interesting topics, but we want to hear from you and what episodes you'd like to hear. If you have an idea for anything we should talk about, email us at mvibespodcast@gmail.com. This episode was produced by BWM Productions and researched by Eric, Amanda, and Javier. If you like our podcast, please help us by rating and reviewing us on your favorite listening platform. And follow us on Instagram and Facebook at mvibespodcast. Come on and join in the conversation.